A couple months ago, I was cramming for an exam, and as the name suggests, this is where you just cram as much stuff into your brain as possible. And I was worried that if I studied too hard, maybe my brain would just fill up and I'd begin to forget even simple things. But our brains don't just write ones and zeros like a hard drive, they build connections and strengthen pathways. The reason you forget things isn't because your brain just runs out of space, but the information you learned wasn't properly organized or understood. What I needed was for all my notes to be organized and categorized into one central knowledge base. But let's be real, nobody has the time to build a digital library of everything they learn and organize it and categorize it so they can come back to it later. And most of the time, the modern apps out there are just glorified notebooks. I want something that will save me time rather than take away my time. And there's one application out there that beats all the rest, and that's Recall, who have kindly sponsored today's video. Recall is a central knowledge base for all your content, from books to movies and recipes to all your online sources like YouTube videos and podcasts. And it actually saves you time because Recall's browser extension makes instant summaries for any video you watch on YouTube and automatically summarizes and categorizes the information at the click of a button. And if you don't understand any part of what you've just heard or read, simply ask the built-in AI any question related to the content and get an explanation. A small part of your brain called the hippocampus is responsible for recording all of your memories, and it does so by linking together neural pathways. Each new experience is encoded and linked with existing knowledge, and this is exactly how Recall organizes your knowledge base. So you can find interesting links in places where you previously wouldn't have looked. This is your brain with Recall, and this is your brain without. Recall comes in 3 different forms. You've got the web app, the browser extension, and the mobile app. On the web app, the home page shows me all my different research topics, and these are called cards, and I can filter them using the sidebar. So let's say, for example, I want to look at health and specifically brain health. I can see 2 podcasts I've watched on brain health, and here's the transcript of this podcast, and next to it are my notes, which I can highlight like so. And if I want to change my notes, I just click where I want to change and begin typing. Currently, my knowledge graph looks like some strange exoskeletal nightmare, but if I filter by selecting a category, let's say health, I can clearly see how different topics within health link together. You can also link your own notes using the lightning bolt when you're in the notebook. And when you want to add a new card in the home page, you click add card in the top corner, and you can just paste a URL for any of these platforms. Or do a search with Google and Wikipedia, import a PDF, import your browser bookmarks to Recall, or of course, just make an empty note. And you can review all your notes on Recall's mobile app, just like you would on the web app, along with chatting with your notes and generating flashcards. So next time you're sitting on the toilet, on a bus, in a waiting room, you can go through your notes, or better yet, flick through your previous flashcards in the review section and earn more brain points while you wait. And if you want to add content directly into Recall on your phone, you can share it with the app, and Recall will automatically add it to your knowledge base and give you a summary. Now, there's always that one homie who got an E on the last exam telling you, oh, but next time we lock in. But when are you actually gonna lock in, dog? Studies have shown that active recall, meaning testing yourself on the information, is much more effective at both remembering things and retaining that information than just reading a textbook. So once you've done listening to that Andy Huberman podcast, you can go straight to the quiz tab and get instant flashcards. What brain region is affected by low to moderate alcohol consumption? Neocortex. Boom! The neocortex is where long-term memories are primarily stored. This is your brain and this is mine. You see how my neocortex is so much more wrinklier than yours? That's because I've been using Recall. No recall, no knowledge, no wrinkles, big sad. You can generate questions on any cards saved into Recall, including your own notes. And you can also adjust those questions or make up your own. All these questions get added to this thing called the Recall Review, which is a spaced repetition learning schedule, so you can just log on and instantly start revising. Recall supports YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, websites, Vimeo, PDFs, Google Docs, Google Slides, and even TikTok. In the Connections tab, you're bound to find what you're looking for, and if you've ever wanted to do a deeper dive into any of the topics, Recall has you covered. For example, if you go into the Terence Tao podcast, and let's say you want to find out more about Fields Medal, then you just click Expand, and the AI will explain it to you and add it to your knowledge base. And let's say I'm reading an article about neurochemistry, and I don't quite understand what serotonin is. I can just hover over it and see that it's a monoamine transmitter, and it links to the podcast I watch on the effects of alcohol on your brain. But I don't want some company knowing everything I do online. Don't worry about that, because Recall's augmented browsing feature is local first, so no data actually leaves your device. What I love most about Recall is how it extracts only the important information and leaves the rest. For example, if I want to summarize this video, it says, The interaction between the babies and dogs continues with the babies trying to feed or give treats to the dogs and the dogs receiving praise and affection from the people around them, including Uncle Wayne. Your brain does have a theoretical max capacity of around 2,500 terabytes, but even if you spent your entire life learning, you'd only ever fill up around 10% of it because your brain is constantly compressing and rewiring new information. The bottleneck for learning isn't how much storage space you have, but how well you understood what you learned and how well organized it is. With Recall, you have the potential to unlock all 2,500 terabytes because it organizes it all for you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Can it be my next AI girlfriend? You sad, pathetic nerd. Yes, it can. So go to getrecall.ai/T=UT or click the link in the description to try it out yourself. And use promo code UT25 at checkout for 25% off a subscription to Recall that's valid until August 1st. Now piss off.